Do it, do it, do it.
Okay. Hello and welcome to the 8th Newcomers tournament. We are Group C and round 2 of the game. We have NullPointer, Base Invader, Leakish, and Dryad for this game. We are on Mars and I'm Lahi. Casting with me is Threat Penguin.
Hello. And we have a power colony here. And food is high. And I'm personally quite interested in a scientist northwest because we have water, we have iron, we have really close by aluminum, and a nice geothermal vent here. That's the founding that stands out to me. And we can also see that electronics starts 200, which is why I favor factions other than the Nomad and the robotics. I prefer finding whatever is cheaper between these two. And we can see we also have core samples and bribe claims, which can be useful. Let's see. Base Invader found as expansive. He has access to iron, close by water, and a close by geotherm. It's nice, but I think this found is nicer. Yeah, I guess it's low iron instead of high, though. We have leakage.
I am a little bit worried about NullPointer's found because of the high electronics price. They have to buy the 20 electronics.
Yeah.
Base Invaders found seems okay with the high iron price. Just upgraded. And Leakish found looks solid, but I don't like the aluminum start. And I actually like Dryad's found the most because even though their iron production is low, they have almost everything nearby. Well, carbon and silicon is far away, but
yeah,
I think Dryad has the good found.
So yeah, I agree. Although I would still prefer scientist. Scientist is good when there's low iron because you don't really care. But we can see that there are core samples, and if you hold Shift Z, you can actually see the percentages here. And he can, if he wants to, core sample some silicon pretty close by at the sand tiles.
Yeah, scientist would have been much better. Core samples cooldown is lower. It's 30 seconds in this version, so it will be more plus to founding a scientist.
Yeah. Let's see, Base Invader is going very hard into steel. He might have issues affording the glass doing this, but he has managed to secure it, so he will get to HQ free. An expansive HQ has been upgraded. Leakish is going into a solar panel. Remember that it was a power colony, so we can expect power to rise quickly. However, he will probably need more, and they might be trying to afford more. Yeah, there's the second one. That's perfect. And I also want to see a goon, because whenever there's power production going on, some people will hit it with the black market. Usually.
I'm a little bit worried about Base Invader's hard entry into steel. First, because steel is falling, and second, because they consume a lot of power. Although that said, Base Invader is building a geotherm, so they will not fall deep into that. So that got covered.
Yeah. And remember that these cost steel, so it's perfect to pair with a lot of steel. I want to point out about NullPointer that even though electronics started high, so did silicon. So they did manage to get HQ2 fairly quickly. And I quite like their found, although I think instead of the second HQ on aluminum, by the way, which obviously should have been on high aluminum instead of low, it's not using anything adjacent to the space. But there was already aluminum here, and I think I would prefer to see the second HQ near carbon. Because carbon is pretty rare on this map, and it will become useful late game.
Or some places where aluminum patch and water patch is connected so that they can use their claims more effectively. Less shipping and more flexibility is always good.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit tightly packed at his silicon water HQ. So spreading it out is a good idea. And remember that as a nomad you get these free claim returns. So if NullPointer had won this auction, he could just return it and use this as a free claim, however they choose. So that I think they should have maybe bid a bit more than 16,000 here. Base Invader is going into farms, which is a very good market. I think it's the best market right now, so I really like that choice. And they have the water to support it. So is Dryad. I like this mutiny. Leakish takes NullPointer's geofarm, and it's good because they're already making power money, so now they're making a lot more power money. And power is high, so it's a big deal. Unfortunately, it just became nighttime, so the solar panels stopped working. But they're still making a fair amount of power money. I like their position right now.
Everyone has been buying claims so far, so there was few Gunskot spot actually. There's only one, which is Leakish one on the solar panel. I like that move. Right now they're the main money maker that stays Leakish in the game, so it's really crucial time to protect for them.
Yeah. So one argument against gunning is that whenever there are claims on the market, people usually only want to buy that and not use the offensive black market. But that's of course a big gamble. You can still get hit. So I don't mind the gun. I think the Base Invader has an opportunity to make a lot of power here if he goes into a patent lab. If he gets his superconductor patent and the geothermal borehole patent, these tiles will be bringing a lot of power. But he gets hit by Leakish with an EMP, which is a good choice. It's a good choice because it hits the power, which is Leakish's own market. So not only is he shutting down Base Invader, he's helping himself by, yeah, strengthening his own market.
We have Hacker Array auction going. Although Hacker Array is difficult to use, it's a claim that they can place an optimization center if they're not using it for hacking.
Yes.
So it went for too cheap.
I think so too.
I think people would have a bit more if it was a tile auction, plain tile auction.
It's actually an interesting tile because there is water on it. That usually never happens. Yeah. And remember, there are no spies, so you can keep it as a hacker array and nobody will know what you're hacking. It's very powerful. And Dryad choosing to hack aluminum right now.
HQ has been upgraded.
I find it odd because other players are producing a lot of it, or enough of it.
Yes. If anything, Dryad should be surplusing aluminum, because they need a lot more to upgrade to HQ5. They need 20,000 worth, and it's gonna get more expensive after this shortage.
Yeah, surplusing can work very well because people sometimes see the surplus and sell out their stockpile, and the other player, the Dryad, can buy it in a cheap price for the fast upgrade.
Yeah. He buys into the shortage. You see him buying up 200 or more than 200 even for the shortage. But yeah, like I said, he still needs 320 just to upgrade, so we'll see how it works out.
If I were Leakish, I would be selling out of these 500 aluminum right away.
Yes, this would be a huge play by Leakish. And he's selling down a bit slowly for my liking. Remember, he's a robotic, so he only needs 160 aluminum. So he can sell down a lot more than this. And right now we have everyone except Base Invader making patent labs, and NullPointer went for the superconductor. So unfortunately for Base Invader, he won't be able to get that combo I talked about with the geothermal borehole and superconductor. And NullPointer right now is not actually using the patent though. He has no power production connected to his base. But he has room for wind turbines at his HQ, so it's not a bad choice.
A new claim is available for auction.
So Base Invader gets to HQ4, and I think he was very scared to upgrade, so he bought all his stock. beforehand. And yeah, that obviously slows you down a lot. I think maybe you buy 1 or 2 stock in an upgrade instead of buying all of it, because you want those extra claims as soon as possible.
Oh, did the game stop? Oh, okay, we are good.
We have a claim auction won by Dryad for 24,000. I think that's good for Dryad. Right now there are some very profitable buildings you could have. For example, chem refineries, glass skins would be nice. Glass is nice because silicon is cheap. Chems are expensive, but so is carbon and fuel. So you would need to support that with some carbon of your own, or the carbon scrubbing patent, or optimizations. Right now Dryad doesn't... No, he is going for a carbon scrubbing patent, so he will have that covered. Oh right, his patent lab got mutinied actually, so that's a big issue for him.
I'm looking at the black market purchases, and I noticed that Dryad has bought 4 claims, and other Base Invader has bought 2 claims and others none. So even though Dryad's HQ looks HQ level 4, it's actually a little bit closer to HQ 5. And even considering that, Dryad has the most money, so Dryad has a lot of the advantage.
Yes, and one thing they have is a monopoly on carbon, and they have 3 quarries, and they're hacking it. This is a very, very strong play, and I think that this will propel them to the win.
An expansive HQ has been upgraded.
However, Leakish did get the carbon scrubbing patent, which is a nice way to avoid this crazy carbon price. Actually, oh, we have some core sample action going. Base Invader is now also getting into a lot of carbon, so Dryad can't do this move forever. But he has already made a lot of money using it. You can see he has 200,000. The other players have much less.
Your stock is being sold.
At this point we can think about what we should do as Dryad. We can either try to buy someone pretty early, or we can attempt to go off-world. And food is a pretty good off-world launch, so we might see Dryad go into an off-world market soon.
Available to the highest bidder.
Dryad is building 2 optimization centers in a row. I personally do not like this chain of advanced buildings, because optimization centers are a crucial part of the late game strategy, and putting them in a one basket can delay them when they get EMP'd.
Yeah, I agree with that. You should spread them out. There's no good adjacency at the colony, but you can still put them at different places around your base.
Dryad is the first and the only getting into entertainment market, which when completed, it's going to produce $322 a second. It's not a small amount, and it will be doubly great for Dryad, who already has all the advantages.
Yeah, I agree with that. Leakish did secure the thinking machines patent, so they might be looking to go off-world. And if that is the plan right now, I would buy up some steel. 78 is a pretty cheap price for steel, and you need a lot of it to go to place the off-world market.
Optimization center is ready. Time to start.
It looks like Base Invader is the first player to start building their off-world under a goon tile. So one issue with this is a goon is not a very good defense, because if you need to replace it, they are very expensive, but the ways to attack it is very, very cheap. If you throw a network warriors for 2,000, that goon is gone, and you can throw a lot of mutinies at it. So it's pretty dangerous play to make.
I was about to point out that lack of farms of Base Invader, but Base Invader has just gone into triple farm, so it will hopefully be able to support their off-world market.
Off-world market
Yes.
is assembled.
So that's
Our
good.
fortune awaits.
Once again, we have the dust storm problem, but it's soon about to end. And if I were him, I would look to optimize food in particular, because it's a launch.
Lickish is also getting in the off-road.
Our stuff.
Yeah, I
And
like
Dryad
that.
also getting in the off-road.
Yeah, so Dryad has a lot of money. He seems to keep doing these carbon hacks, and it's less effective now since Base Invader has 2 carbon cores also. But it
And
still
no
makes
one
him
is
money.
in. And no one else is lacking carbon because they are not using it. So it's going to help both Dryad and Base Invader.
Yeah. Base Invader just won a patent lab auction for only 8,000. And one fun thing about that is he has the nanotechnology patent. So when he scraps that, he gets more in cash than what he paid in debt. So he's very happy about that. And that's what he did, and then he places a Pleasure Dome, which will be very profitable. So
I think we have a disconnected player here. NullPointer is now on AI.
oh, that's unfortunate. And I'm not sure when that happened, but I don't think Base Invaders should be buying stock of an AI. He should try to focus on the players who are still in the game.
AI players are no longer a big part of the game, and you don't have to buy the AI player to win the game.
Yeah. The important thing about them is they will never do aggressive stock plays, so they will never be a threat, even if they make a lot of money. So one thing I want to point out about NullPointer and why he maybe got a bit behind this game is he went into the electronics factories very early. It's usually better to go into something that makes you a lot of money, sell that down, and then buy the electronics you need to upgrade instead of producing electronics directly.
Even though Dryad has started buying into Base Invader did not stop buying into NullPointer and continued on. It's going to make Base Invader more of an attractive target because if Dryad finishes the buy, Dryad will get the 5 stocks in NullPointer as well. So it's better for Dryad to continue pursuing on Base Invader.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you have none of your own stock and 5 of someone else's, you're a very attractive target. The fun thing here is that Dryad was in the exact same situation. So he has 5 in Base Invader, who has 5 in NullPointer. So, like, by transitivity, Dryad stock is very valuable. And both Base Invader and Lickish seem to realize that and buy into Dryad. And I like that. If we see the prices right now, we see steel is $40. And none of these players have 2 off-worlds. So you should definitely buy up some of that steel and try to place down a second off-world, because steel is rarely this cheap.
Right now, the money is at glass and electronics factory.
Yeah.
So people should be looking into that market instead of like steel mills or chemical refineries.
The best market by far is the off-world market, though. You see it making $1,000 a second here. So that's why I'm... Oh, somebody did buy up steel, so that's good. It was Lickish. Okay, I really like this play. In particular by Lickish, since he got the Thinking Machines patent. Usually Thinking Machines leads to off-worlds, because it will be harder to punish by the black market. And this is when the black market starts getting used. I really like using mutinies and off-worlds. As you can see... There. We're seeing a price at $930. That means, on average, if you launch what you're launching here, which is food, that's how much money you make per second. There's also almost $1,000 a second. That's really, really good. And we can say actually a mutiny lasts for 120 seconds. So we can basically say a mutiny is worth 120,000. And they only cost 14,000 right now. So I would really like to see more of these. It's a very good play.
Yeah, Dryad. We said that Dryad has a lot of advantages, but Leakish has an overall two active overroads. Now it's one, and Base Invader. Even though Base Invader doesn't have a lot of money at hand, they can sell out of the buy stocks in NullPointer and maybe finish the buy on Dryad earlier than Dryad can do.
What a payout.
Yeah. So I want to point out
Oh.
a big mistake actually by Leakish. This second offer wasn't adjacent to his base. So it's not protected by thinking machines.
I'm having weird issue with the time. It stopped and it started. And
Organization routine successful.
Okay.
are your game nominal?
It's 1420, 1430, 1440.
Yeah, we're synced. Okay.
Excellent. So something strange to come off the silicon price right now. I think that's the AI here building an off-road and they get bought out by Base Invader.
This buy from Base Invader buy on NullPointer is definitely a mistake. Base Invader could have take the game by buying into Dryad instead of buying into NullPointer.
Yeah, the advantage of buying Dryad is you also get Dryad stock, 5 of which are in yourself. So I would also prefer to see a buy on Dryad. However, now we have a pretty strange game because we have 3 rich players basically. And I can't really predict how this will end. Leakish, if he wants to, can buy Dryad. But by doing so, Base Invader will get 3/10 of the subsidiary and of the stock. So I'm not sure it's the best play.
The black
What would you do here as Leakish?
What a payout.
Yeah, I think Leakish has the biggest advantage right now. The stock game has
Advanced our production.
been weird this game.
Do you think he should buy Dryad then?
I'm sorry.
Should Leakish buy Dryad here?
I think Leakish can.
Make room for the profits.
Yes, Leakish should buy Dryad. I think. That said, Base Invaders monies.
Yeah, I'm really worried
Rising
about
rapidly.
yeah, exactly. Because NullPointer is a good sub. They got their 2 off-roads up, and as we pointed out, they're very profitable. Although less profitable now that food price has risen. So yeah, I think Base Invader has the advantage here. They're making a lot of money.
The off-world market is finished and awaiting orders.
And
I think the best strategy to have right now is to wait and hope that you do not get bought, and use the money they have at hand to buy out the remaining players.
Continue to improve.
yeah, it could work. We'll see. He has the red button on Dryad and he takes it. So if that's what he wanted to do, he probably should have done it earlier. He had the money a lot earlier. He just needed to sell down things. Because-
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think
Also,
Base Invader is
Leakish-
going to take this.
Okay, I was about to point out that Leaky should be using the mutiny, but just did, so that's great.
Yes, excellent play. So, yeah, I think 70k is a good price for Mutiny. You might want to stop here.
Launch affirmative. What a payout.
And you can see on optimizations that nobody really went hard into the food optimizations. Which I think they should have done, because it's clearly the best launch, or it was, sorry, before it became this expensive. And a lot of people were in off-roads. So I think you can expect farm optimizations to become very good. And Base Invader, who has only 1 optimization, so it's 25% better, his farms are making almost $400 a second. It's very, very good.
Look at the power price, it's rising rapidly, and Although Leakish would not be able to make power money, Base Invader can go hard into power and earn a lot of money from it.
Optimization routine successful.
Yeah. Usually when power
That's-
is this high, you will look at the player with superconductor, and that's NullPointer right now. And their solar panels is doing a very nice profit.
Yeah, the subs are taking care of power.
Yeah. However, Base Invader has enough money right now to buy Leakish, and they do it and take the game. So well paid to them.
Congratulations, Base Invader. So it was an interesting game. Very hard to decide. Stock situation was there, and Dryad had a good lead and good secured long game with 5 private claims, but could not win the game.
Yeah. I think one issue here, we talked about the carbon hacks. Remember that Base Invader was the one who also had carbon. I think they might have benefited a bit from Dryad's carbon hacks.
And also Base Invader was the first person to get into off-road, but the off-road was not punished hard, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I agree with that. People should have started using mutinies earlier. It was a very valuable tile to attack. So a question from chat: if Leakish buy Dryad, will they get 5 stock in Base Invader? The problem there was that Base Invader had 3 stocks in Dryad. So if Leakish finishes the buy on Dryad, they will get 70% of Dryad's assets, and Base Invader will get 30%. Because Base Invader had 3 stocks. And that's Base Invader will get 30% of the subsidiary income and of their stocks. That's why I thought this situation was a bit tricky for Leakish, and I'm not sure what the right play there was. And I think people are waiting for us. No? Okay, our game finished first, so we can talk a bit more. Let's see, how did Pleasure Domes do? You remember that Dryad had the advantage of being in this very profitable Pleasure Dome with virtual reality.
200k.
Yeah, that's very respectable. And you can tell it's going to be a good Pleasure Dome game when you look at the HQs. So different HQs contribute differently to the income you will get from this. And expansives are one of the best ones. And we have 2 expansives here. So pretty much in a game with 2 expansives you will want at least 1 Pleasure Dome. And the value of the virtual reality patent will be higher.
Black market purchases, every player except for NullPointer engaged actively on black market activity, which is good to see in a new players tournament. We sometimes see very quiet black market, but this was fierce.
Yes.
Fiercer than some other games can be.
I especially like Leakish's usage. He started very early, and I think he chose the correct targets.
But maybe 1 or 2 private claims for Leakish.
Yes,
so
absolutely. So we discussed it at the start too. If you should goon the solar panels that he started with, or buy claims. And I guess in this case, since nobody hit him anyway, you could say that he should have bought claims. But you never know. It's so hard to make that call. And I think it's...
When I decide whether to goon or not, I usually think about, can I afford getting hit on this tile? And if I can't, I put a goon there.
Yeah. Yeah, the first one, I agree, it was probably correct. He could still get more claims later though. You can skip the first one, but I think buying 0 is a mistake. His claims are worth a lot. I can't really point out why Dryad didn't take the win. I think if I would have been in their situation though, a scientist found here would have been really nice. Just having the ability to play steel mills directly on the low iron instead of mining it with 2 mines and then building the steel mills. Like, that's 2 wasted claims as an expensive compared to a scientist.
Maybe Dryad was too late to off-road market. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I really liked actually the Hacker A place, but maybe 2 cores would have been enough too. 3 is very excessive when there is more black market. There is more carbon on the map. So yeah, I still want to point out about NullPointer that this HQ could have been placed either on the high aluminum or by the carbon. I would prefer carbon myself. You saw the power of the carbon hacks of Dryad. You made a lot of money in the mid game, but if you are a nomad and you have your HQ right next to it, you will have a very easy time going there, and you can take advantage of the high price. I think this HQ didn't really do anything for him. Yeah, he got this water, I guess, but he had water here too. So that's one thing to keep in mind as NullPointer when you're finding nomad. And yeah, every game is finished now, so we should wrap up. Congrats to Base Invader.